smart, and on the flip side of that, you could become exposed to some counters. You have to be good defensively in transition, and then set pieces. They can often be the great equalizer in soccer, right? So you have to limit those set pieces, and anytime that you do concede a set piece, you have to be sure defensively and try to limit any sort of good opportunities that could come from it.
Well, we've got UNCG on the left side of your screen in blue, and ETSU will be on the right side of your screen in white. As we mentioned, UNCG comes in at 9-1-3. Their only loss to Dustin Fonders Fighting Campbells of Campbell. They're 2-0 in the conference, and ETSU also 2-0 in the conference with a record of 6-4-1 on the season.
Yeah, the only two unbeaten teams in the SoCon.
ETSU looking to play a 3-4-3. You mentioned number 10, Kieran Richards. Also, Panholzer had a fantastic year last year. They've asked him to do different things this year, but there's a good look at number 1, Cole Hunter, who's getting the first start of his career this season. He's come in as a senior and really won out that position.
He's been tremendous. He leads the SoCon in goals against average. Nicholas Wild is second. So this is a keeper matchup for the ages. It doesn't get better than this in the SoCon.
UNCG is easy to scout because they don't vary their lineup too much. Against VMI, they switched things up because they knew they were coming into that Clemson midweek match and they wanted to rest some legs. But you can see there, they've got Connolly, number 3, the captain in the back line with Marco Milanese. They're assisted back there by Hagen and Sammy Lashikar, who's started for the team in the most recent weeks, earning that spot over the senior Matthew Skinner. And then we cannot say anything about UNCG without highlighting JC Ngando.
He is tremendous. Leads the nation in assists with 10 assists in the season. They run their attack through him.
We see here Vignali on the ball at the top of the box. Nice little fake there. Looking to see who he has, brings it back to Birch, and one of the things UNCG is going to do is can they just knock the ball around and see if they can't find gaps in the defense of the Bucks. But Coach David Lilly's team is more organized than they have been defensively, and he thinks they're peaking at the right time.
You could see the shape that they're maintaining right now, and it's so important to maintain that shape. UNCG, they will knock the ball around. They're going to find success doing that. It's about staying disciplined and doing a good job just being responsible defending and not allowing those pockets of space for UNCG to pass into.
And you see UNCG relentless in the attack there. Birch coming all the way up to pressure the goalkeeper. That's Panholzer, who is a right-footed dominant player, but he likes to play on the left side. And he's playing a lot more narrow this year than they did last year. Last year, they really let him hang out on the flank and see what he could create, but we're going to see him more in the middle. And here's UNCG in the attack, and that'll be an offside there on El Harchi.
I like what I'm seeing, though, so far from UNCG. And even though El Harchi was offside, I like him being able to push ahead like that, make some of those dangerous runs. They've been looking for kind of a poacher this season, right? They had it a season ago with Theo Colombe. They don't have it this year. El Harchi is their leading goal scorer, but they'd still like to see him score a little bit more. Just my conversation I had with Chris Rich earlier in the season. He's up to 6 goals now, still trying to keep things rolling offensively.
Coach Rich did a tremendous job of bringing in a number of transfer players and graduate students to fill some of the gaps in last year's lineup. He said this year's team has more depth than they had last year. They don't necessarily have that goal scorer like Colombe, but collectively they've made up the difference.
And sometimes that can actually be better because that makes it more difficult to defend, right? If there's just one guy to focus on, now you have many guys.
And Ramos is looking to spring Panholzer, who's now on the right side of the field. They've got Richards in front with Ramos, and cheating on the backside is also number 25. Cameron Carroll was back there getting into the attack.
That's what ETSU has to do, right? If they pick up possession, they have to get it and go. They cannot let UNCG set up that press and try to force the turnovers, because when UNCG loses the ball, they come right after you. It must be the most frustrating thing in the world to play against a team like UNCG, but I liked what I saw right there from the Buccaneers.
And that was one of the things that Coach David Lilly mentioned. Can they find those moments where they might be able to catch UNCG on their heels and not prepared enough for that attack? And you can see the pressure there by El Harchi, putting Hunter under pressure, and he's just going to play that long, a little keeper to keeper there. We mentioned Nicholas Wild, fantastic goalkeeper, last year's SoCon Keeper of the Year. And there's Ramos with some pace on the side. A little bit of a push in the back there, and the referee, our AR on the side, we'll call it. Our officials for the match are in the center, Brandon Gardner, and our ARs are Javier Rodriguez and Adonis Alawar. So getting the call early.
You hit on the keepers in this one. We talked about it earlier, top 2 in goals against average. So not only do we have statistically the 2 best keepers in the conference, we have the conference leader in assists and conference leader in goals. The Stars run full display tonight here at UNCG, and that's why these 2 teams are 2-0. They have the top talent in the conference, and they've put that on full display this season.
You can see ETSU really having a low block there, just comfortable letting UNCG's back line knock the ball around. It was the same way they played against Wofford.
And it would certainly work for them, a 3-0 win over the Terriers.
McNally working with Connolly, but it's just going to get launched into the stands there by the senior Carroll. Connolly plays it into Vignali. Quick ball across. It's cleared out away, but it's going to fall to Ngando. You can see how compact the ETSU team is with all 11 players really in about 40 yards of the field right there.
And they're moving so well together. That's crucial against a team like UNCG. They have players all over this starting 11 that could just pick out passes all around the pitch. And a nice defensive possession right there from ETSU, able to take it away.
Foster almost got caught with that ball back to Hunter, because you've got El Harchi who's just going to stay up high. We talk about the formation of UNCG being fluid, but they do attack in that 4-2-3-1 with El Harchi just sitting up top. And now here's a fantastic ball into the freshman Hernandez. He's going to look up. It's 1v1 in the box. He's going against, plays it to Ngando, who's wide open at the top of the box, and it is launched over. But a good ball in there by the freshman Steven Hernandez.
What I absolutely love there from Hernandez is the patience. He didn't force anything. He saw Ngando making a bit of a late run to the top of the 18, and he fed him in stride. Take a look back at this. And Ngando, yeah, he found space. Ngando only 3 goals this season, but a very capable goal scorer, of course. UNCG will continue to take looks like that.
ETSU winning both the first and second ball. They're going to knock it around. The switch is on, and they do find Carroll wide on the flank. He plays it back to Catherall. And they'll have to play that all the way back to Foster and see if they can't reset and try and
it's rare to see teams possess the ball in UNCG, but ETSU doing a solid job of that so far.
And that ball's played in. A wide open Richards on top of the box, and Lashikar a little late to put pressure on there.
Yeah, he found a little bit of an area, had a little bit of room to work with. And Wild's lucky that that one wasn't directed on target, because this season, I mean, Richards has been tremendous. We talked about it in the pre-match, but 8 goals. He leads the conference in goals, and He's 6th all-time at ETSU in career goals, and he had a brace against Wofford. I mean, his 3rd brace of the season. This guy can score goals from all sorts of different angles.
Coach David Lilly said it's his first season back. He was with ETSU prior to this as the assistant coach from 2010 to 2017, and he said this team has endured a lot. Last year they lost their coach mid-season, had an interim coach. It was a difficult time for them, and they've got a core group of seniors that really want to see this team get to the best spot that they can, and they're a work in progress. But he said we're writing our own story, and they like where they're at right now. He was very happy with that result against Wofford, and not just the result, but what he was seeing from his play, how they were buying into everything.
Well, when you have a group of players who has been through some adversity like they were last year, and they decide to see it through in this era of college athletics, when people can just pack up and hit the transfer portal and leave, that adds a lot of value and just a lot of camaraderie and belief in one another on a team, regardless of the sport. But especially this ETSU team, and we've seen it in the results. They've gotten some very impressive results this year, and even in some of their losses. A 1-0 loss against UNC, 2-0 loss against Virginia Tech. ACC matches, one of them was on the road. Still a good experience for them.
And here's Vignali working with Ngando. Ngando, one of the things he's so good at is possessing the ball and looking to face up, but ETSU had numbers behind him there. And now Ramos is going to play quick into Panholzer. Hagen and Lashikar are back with Milanese back, but it's Panholzer. Cuts it out to the left side, but Ethan Connolly gets all the way back, and the crowd is ecstatic to see him break up that play.
You can see exactly what Panholzer was trying to do. He put it on his right foot. That's his strong foot. Was looking for a little window, could not find it. And got a little bit uncomfortable as he tried to go back on his left.
Bit of a battle there between Vignali and Carroll. Coach Rich wanted to limit the defending free kicks, but now here's an opportunity for Ravenlo Moriai. Say that 10 times fast, the Danish transfer from Gardner-Webb.
One of 3 transfers from Gardner-Webb on this team, one of 17 transfers in general.
It's a good, well-driven ball in. Able to get a flick on it was Richards, but that'll go out for a UNCG corner kick. And I think as we're seeing UNCG getting a little bit of a talking to by Coach Richards, he's going to be on them in terms of tighter in the box marking.
Absolutely, yeah, that right there is tough, and ETSU nearly had a nice little build-up, but now they're pressing and they forced a takeaway, and here's Ngando, always so dangerous.
And he's got help. Vignali making that run. A good ball in from Hernandez. Also has El Harchi trying to hold his run. Can't find him. Still in possession now. Hernandez, top of the box, puts it on his left, and a fantastic save by Cole Hunter.
Whew. What a build-up from UNCG, but an even better save by Cole Hunter. There's a reason why he leads the conference in goals against average, conceding just 0.6 per match. Tremendous extension, read that thing well. And it was him and Hernandez, that's it, 1-on-1, and he won that battle.
Well, just UNCG so dangerous in transition. That was a run by Vignali. He kept possession, and then the freshman just teased that up, forcing Hunter to extend to tip that ball over. And now UNCG has a plethora of creative free kicks. They've got 2 out there with Hernandez and Ngando. It's short to Ngando, gets all the way back to Mark. Mark's going to lump that in, but Hunter comes out to punch it away, and it falls to Ramos. Ramos has Chow Yump on one side and Carroll on the other, but good recovery there by Hernandez.
Yeah, I thought he might have sent that ball down that right side with Chuyap making the run. Instead, kind of held on to it maybe a little bit too long, but I like to see him be a little bit more aggressive and just test this back line in a situation like that.
Yves Chuyap is the sophomore from Canada, another player who didn't get a lot of minutes last year but has really come in, and Coach Lilly's been impressed with him and said he just keeps getting better and he's earning that spot. He's doing the work.
And he's a first-year starter in his 10th start of this season, and it's good to see some of those younger players get experience, and you see a lot of growth, right? You can only do so much in practice, but when you actually get that match experience, you grow a lot.
And that's really what Coach Lilly is after. It's his first season. It's really an opportunity for players who maybe weren't getting a look last year under another coach to get the look and earn it, and he's had that from a number of players. But that's going to be a foul there, and it looks like El Harchi is on the ground. ETSU not happy with the call. El Harchi sometimes, as that big target up top, can take a hit.
Yeah, we'll look back at this. Watch 29. Let's see, some contact to the head area.
And
we're in a whistle.
It looks like Ravenlo Moriae kind of came into the side, but maybe clipped El Harchi in the head, but it almost looked like it was a knee to the side as well.
He'll trot off, and with the medical crew having to come on, he'll be able to re-enter, but he'll have to come off momentarily. But it sets up a free kick in a very dangerous area. This is a spot where UNCG could absolutely go for goal, or we talked about the service that they could play with a guy like Ngando, or the many weapons that they have.
And they've got Mark, Birch, and Ngando around the ball. Birch has 2 goals on this season, both in the run of play, one of which was a laser with his right foot. So UNCG prides themselves on having a variety of looks on free kicks and set pieces, and so we'll see what they put together here as the referee tries to step back the ETSU wall. That's a well-struck ball by Mark, but just over the top of the net, and you can see Hunter backstepping and extending to try and cover the goal there.
And that gets a warm round of applause from the UNCG faithful. I think rightfully so. You have to like the ambitious effort there from Mark, just a bit high as it clears the crossbar. Got to look at this. And just a bit high, but still, that's something that ETSU cannot afford to do. They cannot afford to concede those free kicks just outside the 18.
And that second ball won by Mark. Finds Vignali. Vignali's going to look up. He's got El Harchi. He's got Ngando. And then, of course, Hernandez is also on the outside. But Ngando was looking to maybe put a little more on that to find Hernandez and couldn't. And now Mark comes up with the ball. We've seen a little bit of the evolution of Basil Mark, where he came in and was really more of a 6, kind of sitting back defensively, really picked and choosed when he was getting forward. But some of the success of UNCG has been when they've been able to get him more into the attack on the left side.
Yeah, early on, kind of playing with 2 6s, him and Birch, but now him pushing up a bit on that left side allows them to get numbers forward. And he's been able to get back as well to help defensively, and that just adds another weapon. We saw what he could do with that left foot at the last free kick attempt, just another dangerous piece on the attack for UNCG.
We've got to remember that both he and Ngando are only sophomores, so came in last year and had an immediate impact, and really have not seen a sophomore slump from either.
No, it's remarkable the amount of young talent they have. Those two are sophomores. Hernandez, who has 5 goals. He is a true freshman, a local product as well from Winston-Salem. I love watching these young players step into high-profile programs. That's what UNCG is, and establish themselves as day one contributors and really day one standouts, as we've seen from a couple of these guys.
Hernandez is another player that came from that NC Fusion Club, where also Colton Sessoms, who we'll probably see later in the match, came in. Sessoms was starting up top before El Harchi won over the spot, but Sessoms is another local player from Advance, North Carolina. His first start, his first game of the season, and within moments had scored his first goal. So UNCG just has a tremendous amount of depth that we will see later in this match. And now Hernandez working on the ball on the side, and Ngando is open. He's going to fake. He's got 2 players, now 3 players surrounding him, and just relieves pressure by playing that back to Lashikar. Vignali now out wide with the ball. Connolly's looking to combine with him, but you can see just ETSU getting numbers behind the ball.
watch Ngando kind of top of your screen. He just keeps trying to make himself available, and there's so much attention in his direction, and understandably so.
And now here's Vagnali working on the side. Good cutback. Tries to play that in. Connolly gets it, and that's going to come off of an ETSU defender, and it's still in play there. And that'll roll out for a UNCG throw-in. But you mentioned JC Ngando. Usually we'll have 2 to 3 players surrounding him, which allows for UNCG to find other opportunities. They have 16 different goal scorers. Sorry, 13 different goal scorers this year. They had 16 last year.
And 8 players with multiple goals as well. So these aren't just tap-in goals. No, these are guys who can go and they can create for themselves, or if other players create for them, but they can certainly finish.
And now El Harchi finds Birch. Birch is going to muscle through and keep possession. Ball goes out to Mark, who's now out wide, working with Hernandez. Once again, can they create those overloads and see if they can't break through this tough ETSU back line right now?
Yeah, this is the battle that ETSU knew they would be in, right? Just trying to stay compact. They knew that UNCG would just pass the ball around, try to find something, and you hope for something like that, right? You hope that there's a little bit of a slip up, a poor feed, and we have one right there for Milanese, a rare mistake for the senior, honored on his senior day.
Marco Milanese came in here 2 years ago and has just been fantastic for Coach Rich. Transferred in from Akron, where he had been in a national tournament team, but made the decision to come here, and I don't think he's regretted it yet. Now here's Carroll in the attack. Vignali getting back. Panholzer gets the ball. He's going to have to look to see if he can't switch the field and open something up, and they go to Chuyup. Chuyup with a long diagonal ball back to Carroll. Gets headed in, but there's Vagnali to break up the play. And there's that quick transition, trying to find El Harchi, but ETSU being extremely mindful of the senior forward in transition.
We absolutely have to be. And UNCG, the thing I love about watching them play is they can score in so many different ways, right? It could be in transition, it could be with a sustained build-up, it could be on a set piece. That's a mark of an elite team, especially offensively. They are an elite team.
And that's a nice ball slipped in, but the AR on the side had lifted the flag. Our center's just going to let that play on since it rolled to Wild. Nicholas Wild keeps inching up the shutout leader board for UNCG, now in 4th place with 17 shutouts. Just needs 18 to move into 3rd place. But the German goalkeeper has been tremendous for UNCG the past 3 seasons. And he's another one who, even though he's been here 3 seasons, his first season was that spring COVID year, so he actually has 2 more years to play for Coach Rich.
And he mentioned the 17 clean sheets. He's done that in, well, today is his 44th career start. So 43 career starts. That's a pretty impressive clip, and he's obviously played a large part in that, but you have to give a lot of credit to UNCG as a team. Defensively, they are all 11 committed to playing well defensively. He hasn't faced a ton of shots. I mean, 6 different matches this year where he's only faced 1 shot on target.
Well, we ran into him after a game, and we were talking just about how well he had played and where he stood shutout, and he mentioned saves, and I said, you're just not going to get enough shots this over your career to really eke up that save chart.
Yep.
UNCG has a tremendous history. They started out as a D3 team, actually won 2 D3 championships under former head coach Mike Murticelli, who had gone out to Notre Dame, and then they were a D2 program and eventually became a D1 powerhouse as well. But a very, very rich history of soccer here at UNCG. And there's El Harchi with the ball floated over his head. Nobody is in the box, but he's got players reaching in, and Ngando tries to slice through, but it's broken up. And now ETSU looking to see if they can't be quick in transition, but there's Jack Birch to just eliminate the options there.
Yeah, just watch the blue kits. They just swarm the ball. They give it away, and then they're right in your face.
And now here's Carroll with the big switch. Looking to see if he can't find Richard, who's out on the flank, but Milanese gets pulled down there by Kieran Richards. And we can see ETSU really looking to see if they can't play that long diagonal ball to the left side, and Carroll in transition really attacking UNCG's right defensive side.
I like that. I think you have to be aggressive in your passes against UNCG.
Now here's Ngando. He's got space. He's got El Harchi. He's got Hernandez backside. But Foster breaks it up, and then Hunter does a tremendous job of keeping that ball in play for the Bucks.
Oh, that was so difficult. That was like a tightrope act. He just kind of ran sideways along the end line. But watch here, Ngando really couldn't have taken a shot from an angle like that, but tried to play it centrally. Good disciplined defending, though, by ETSU.
ETSU in possession. That's Gunther. Plays that ball forward to Panholzer, who's now on the right. He's got Ramos in the 18, but there's 4 UNCG players, so not many opportunities there to play that ball in. I think one of the things we're seeing tonight is UNCG being extremely organized in that transition, making sure they get numbers back and taking care of the details. Early on in the season, sometimes they could get caught in transition, but we haven't seen that tonight.
Well, it's something that Chris Rich talked about, right? This is a key. It's something we highlighted before the match as well. Anytime that you're a team that likes to possess the ball, you can push some numbers forward, you could become exposed on some of those counters, and that makes it critical that you have to defend well in transition.
Richards picks up the foul there from Hagan, and they want to play quickly, but they're just going to let it settle down and I think give the players a bit of respite here as they organize their attack. You know, it's such tough work being that organized when you're under a constant barrage by UNCG, and so they're going to find those moments when they can take a breather.
I think this is fine. If you're ETSU, remember last set piece, you had a threatening moment.
And that ball's played out wide. It's kept alive. Panholzer tries to play that in, and an unbelievable rocket of a shot there by Richards, I believe. Just found the ball at the top of the 6, and a stunned UNCG. But once again, that comes off of a free kick.
Well, it's the great equalizer. I don't think anyone would doubt that UNCG has been the better squad so far. But when you get those set piece opportunities, it's a chance. It's more so 50-50 than what you see in the run of play. And it is Richards who buries his 9th goal of the season from Panholzer. That dynamic duo, they are so good. They can play so well against each other. And a dream start for ETSU. Look at that, just a smashing finish. Bar down, slams it into the crossbar, and nothing that Nicholas Wiles could do about it.
Just an unbelievable finish, but we talk about how dangerous set pieces are, and that came off of a first ball won by ETSU, second ball won, and I think that's something we've got to see. Who are winning those first and second balls in this match off of the free kicks, off of the goal kicks even, and punts from the keepers? And UNCG has decided to go to the bench early. They've brought number 25, Marco Alfonso, into the game. Sorry, not 25, number 28, Marco Alfonso, into the game, and they've taken Birch out. So a little bit of a switch there for UNCG.
This is unfamiliar territory for the Spartans. Their first time trailing in SoCon play. They really haven't trailed much this season at all, so we'll see how they respond. But sometimes it can be good to have your team tested like this. It's a good learning experience. There's still plenty of soccer left to be played, but a good start for ETSU.
And with Alfonso coming into the match, Hernandez has moved to the right side of the field, and Vignali to the left side of the field. Sammy Lashikar, he loves to dribble. You usually don't like to see your center back make a run from the center back position, but he did so in the Clemson game. Actually was able to get a shot off, so pretty effective, but also can be a little nerve-wracking at times.
Yeah, and it just depends how much confidence do you have in that center back to actually dribble successfully. He's done a good job at that, and a lot of times too when he could do that, he draws in defenders, and that could open things up for other players as well.
And that was a long ball in by Milanese, but Afonso unable to keep possession of it. So we are at the 28-minute mark of the first half, and a shocker goal, really against the action, I would say, by Kieran Richards. It's his 11th of the season, and that has the Bucks up 1-0 on the Spartans.
Yeah, and ETSU, hey, set pieces, that's a chance. Set pieces, counters, those are probably the two best opportunities they would have today to score a goal, and now it's about remaining compact defensively. They've done a good job maintaining that shape. They've been really tight in the center of the pitch. Have to keep that rolling because you know UNCG will continue to generate more chances. This one a long way from being over.
And now that ball was played into Hernandez, but it's going to have a fortuitous touch, but can't keep it in. I was hoping that the touch by Catherall would give Hernandez time, but I mentioned it was the 10th goal by Kieran Richards, and it's actually the 9th goal.
Still impressive, nonetheless. He leads the conference in goals. Take a look back at this. Watch how close Hernandez is to keeping that ball in play, and he had multiple players making runs towards the 6. You never know. He could pop that centrally, and we could be level, but well, Hunter and company live to see another day.
Hernandez is just a dynamic freshman, and he is very dangerous on the flanks, 1v1, tremendous speed, and just so comfortable on the ball. There's Gunther keeping possession of Foster. Plays it back to the keeper. Catherall under tremendous pressure. Now you see Ngando and El Harchi. And that was an inadvertent foul there by Hernandez. And now we see ETSU with an opportunity again.
Well, you mentioned something before about UNCG having a lot of depth this season. And you just watch the way that they play. They're running all over the pitch, constant pressure. The fact that they have so much depth, that really plays into the way that they want to play. And that's a huge advantage for them. They can go to their bench, bring in some substitutes like we've already seen Chris Rich do. Just shy of the half-hour mark, he brought them in. And could really be a boost to them to keep bringing in those fresh legs.
Now Hernandez is going to let that ball roll out for a throw-in, but once again, it's the ability of UNCG to wear down defenses, and just when you're feeling good, a new player off of the bench that's coming in with multiple goals starts coming at you, and so it's a mental battle of sorts as well.
Yeah, there isn't a drop-off. I mean, you have a bunch of guys in this team who could absolutely start for UNCG. A bunch of guys in this team who would be stars for a majority of teams in all of college soccer who are coming on as a substitute. And that is quite the luxury for Chris Rich to have.
Here's Lashikar on the dribble. Tried to find Ngando, unable to do it. Hasn't worked his way back yet, and Hagen's just going to lump that ball into the air. UNCG is not a team that likes to have the ball in the air much. They are a very possession-oriented, pretty team that can knock the ball around, and if it is going in the air, it's usually on a laser to a specific target.
Yeah, just watch the shape of ETSU. It's a 3-4-3, but it's an extremely low block, and maybe even a little bit lower now than it was before with this 1-0 lead.
When they're defending, it almost becomes more of a 5-back in that formation when Carroll and Gunter drop into the back line to give support. But they do look to transition quickly. And now here's Ramos with the ball. Sorry, that was Kovacic. We have not said his name much. David Kovacic, the Slovenian transfer from Maryland. He's really critical for them in the midfield, and we have not seen him get many touches on the ball, but as we mentioned, UNCG has really dominated possession.
Yeah, but it's tough. Anytime that you're a midfielder going up against UNCG, it's going to be tough to have the ball at your feet for very long with the amount of pressure that they put on you. But I think Kovacic, he has some big match experience, a transfer from Maryland where he made 10 starts for a very good Terrapin squad, played in the NCAAs with the Terps. Second time that we've seen UNCG just kick it out of bounds. Just not as crisp so far in this first half with this passing at the back.
Manuel Hagen just got caught up flat a little bit, not giving enough depth for the defense there. And just UNCG struggling a little to break down that ETSU back line, and at the same time, showing a little bit of a chink in their armor defensively.
Yeah, oh, absolutely, no doubt about it. And I think if you're ETSU at this point, you're 34 minutes into this, you have to be very pleased at the way that things have progressed. You have the lead, that's the biggest part, but beyond that, you've played very competitively with UNCG. Hey, there's a reason why they're 2-0 right now, and why they're 6-4-1 overall. It's been a good start so far for David Lilley's club.
And now Vagnali, bit of a slide tackle there, but it was clean. UNCG maintains possession. That was number 16 for ETSU, who had subbed into the match, the senior Lewis Leichner, who's finding himself up top now for the Bucks.
You see Cameron Carroll, you mentioned before, he's been dropping a bit, especially when UNCG possess, kind of deep in that final third. A little bit of a 5 in the back look for them.
Now here's Hagen. Gets a release from Connolly. Connolly's going to play it into the target, El Harchi. Can they find Ngando? So much of their play runs through the sophomore JC Ngando. And he has yet to move around the field without a body on him. Now he gets the ball, quick turn, but he can't go forward. Gets played back. Panholzer has possession. Ramos versus Ngando is a nice little play, and Kovacic has the ball.
And Ngando, I mean, I was doing the UNCG match against Furman a couple of weeks ago, and a match that UNCG just exploded in the second half. They won 5-1, but Furman had its 6. It's the best defending midfielder the entire match, man-marking Ngando, not giving him any room to work with. And Ngando still found some success in that one. So he is as skilled of a player as you'll find. He can throw multiple players in his direction. He's still going to find success.
And UNCG has gone to the bench. They're going to bring in the freshman Maddox Mallory, who's got 2 goals and an assist on the season. He'll go in the back line for Connolly. They'll also bring in the senior Michael Reyes. He'll go in the midfield, and then they're also going to bring in the freshman Colton Sessoms, who will come in up top for El Harchi. So 9 minutes left in the half, and we've seen some changes made. Maddox Mallory is an attack-minded right back. You mentioned Connolly was the hero versus Clemson getting into the attack, but Mallory is very much like former player Joey Skinner, where he is going to cheat on that back line. He is going to get forward and try and see if he can't make something happen. Lashkar with the clearance. It's won by ETSU. Ball played in. Hunter coming out of the box, up over Reyes. Cole Hunter, the senior, showing his range there.
Yeah, a bit risky, but able to race off his line and high point that ball. He's a tremendous keeper. We talked about the keeper matchup before, but you can see the long service ahead. And he's able to absorb some contact from Reyes and hold on to it.
There's Gunther with the ball. Has to play it back to Chuyap. That's out of bounds there for ETSU. good look at the crowd on the far side of the field. It is alumni weekend here at UNCG. The women celebrated last night with festivities at their game, and now the men have a large crowd on the alumni side and an even larger crowd in the stands as students came into the match and got their bucket hats this evening. So
there we go.
Campus will be filled with bucket hats tomorrow.
Are you a bucket hat fan?
I don't pull off the bucket hat very well. I am a hat fan. I am rarely seen without a hat on outside. You know, when your entire life revolves around being out on a soccer field, you gotta take care of the moneymaker, the face, and protect it from the sun. So
there you go. Yeah, look at that. Look at that. I mean, it's crowded, and rightfully so. This team deserves a lot of supporters in attendance, being one of the best teams in the country. But anytime it's homecoming, you're going to bring in some big numbers. I don't know about you. I had a tough time finding parking. It was totally swamped when I got here, and just a fun atmosphere around campus today.
Well, this stadium is a historic stadium, having hosted NCAA tournaments in the past, and just an unbelievable pitch and just a great place to play. And there's a foul on Mallory there.
And when you can pack it like UNCG's been able to do these last couple of seasons, it can be a difficult place to play because it is such a big stadium, especially for the college ranks. And it's pretty packed today.
Here's Ngando coming all the way back to get that ball. Really like to see him higher up in the attack, and a good slotted ball into Mallory. Mallory's going to send that. Just can't get on the end of it, but he had runners in the box. So UNCG cheating up again, trying to see if they can't spring somebody on the flanks to get a service in.
Yeah, second time, last 10 or so minutes, we've seen them try to work that right flank. First it was Hernandez, this time it's Mallory. Both times passes were just a little bit out of their reach, but they could find some space to serve in balls. They certainly have the players inside the box to finish.
Well, the junior Gabriel Ramos, number 7, is going to come out of the match, and they will replace him with the junior Christian Inchimu, who is going to be playing in his 7th match this season. But Coach Lilly is looking to see if he can't endure the last 5 minutes of pressure by the Spartans.
Yeah, critical 5 minutes here as well. If ETSU can head into the dressing room with a 1-0 lead, that's a whole different story from 1-1 through 45 minutes.
Vignali now on the ball. Hagen cheating up into the attack as well. Vignali's going to try and chip that over, but Reyes was not on the run there, so a bit of miscommunication.
Yeah, to me, when you start to see UNCG make passes like that, that says that they know that ETSU has just been doing a good job marking them, and I don't want to say frustration, but you start to force things that maybe you're not as comfortable doing when you are having your way, like we've seen UNCG do throughout much of this season.
Well, UNCG, as you mentioned, can score in a variety of ways, but they do like to see if they can't find Ngando at the top of the box, slipping somebody in or getting a flank service, and they have not had success with that so far this half. And there's Mallory able to keep possession under that pressure. Mark plays it out to Milanese. Milanese getting forward. There are numbers on the far side of the field. It's out wide. They find Ngando now, who's going against Chuyap, but it's a double with Gunther, making it difficult for Ngando, and still numbers floating in the box, looking to recycle their runs if they can. Vignali now across to Hagen. Hagen puts that into Sessoms. Great turn by Sessoms. Back to Sessoms, can't find it, just a wall of white there.
Oh, I thought El Harchi was going to turn and strike that. Pardon me, Marco Afonso. He's a great goal scorer in his own right. 4 goals in the season.
Here's Vignali working it around. UNCG's got a ton of numbers at the top of the box. Hagen lumps it in. Diving header there by Foster, but it still comes out to Ngando. Last thing you want is to clear a ball to the fabulous sophomore, but now a bit of a reprieve as it falls to Mark. And that will go out for a corner kick with 2.5 minutes left in this half.
Just the second corner kick of the first half for UNCG.
Taking the corner kick for the Spartans, number 10, J.C. Ngando.
And they've got Hagan in the box, Reyes in the box. Afonso cheating at the D, plays across, big clearance header there out. And Vignali will keep that alive. You love to see what Ngando's trying to do, but read well by ETSU, and now there's another corner for the Spartans.
Just 2 minutes left in this first half, trying to steal a late goal to head into the dressing room level, and again it's Ngando who will take it.
Ngando, good bending ball in, cleared away by the Bucks. Vignali in a foot race, able to keep possession. Fortuitous touch there that ends up with Ngando, and now it is a free kick with 1.5 minutes left in that corner, so they can set up like a corner kick there. Afonso calling for a little more dramatic call. Wanted to see the card there, but maybe a little early in the match for a card. And now Afonso and Ngando on the ball. They've got 5 players in the box with Mark lurking at the top of the D. Ngando plays that in backside, just heavy on that, and couldn't find Lashikar on the back post.
You could certainly see the idea there. Lashikar was making that run, the center back racing ahead towards the back post, but a little bit over the head of Lashikar off the right foot of Ngando.
And now Cole Hunter, the senior, is going to take his time with this kick. 30 seconds left in the half. Played all the way back to Wild, who takes a controlled touch and is now going to launch that out to Mallory. And that goes into the happy crowd.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Well, an interesting turn of events here in the first half. UNCG dominating possession, but ETSU up 1-0 on the Spartans.
Yeah, and ETSU will head into the dressing room in a position that you'd rather face an adverse situation in a regular season match with still a lot of the line, but not as much as on the line. Want to face that now rather than facing that in the NCAA tournament.
Well, and I think Coach Rich, I point blank asked him, is it going to be difficult for your team to get up for the ETSU match after having that midweek victory versus Clemson? And he said, when Wednesday came, we were focused on ETSU. And so I don't think we've seen them necessarily have a bit of a lull. I just think they're facing a very organized ETSU team. So it'll be interesting to see what adjustments Coach Rich makes. The second half, UNCG will be on the right side of your screen in blue, ETSU in white on the left side of your screen. UNCG has the back line intact with Connolly back into the match for Mallory, and you see him working there on that flank versus ETSU. UNCG's marked tightly in the box, not much able to happen, although that ball was intended for Revenlo Morerai, but unable to find him. Now Milanese clears that out. But the back line for UNCG sees Connolly back into the match. Other than that, the only changes are up top with Colton Sessoms in at that 9 spot where El Harchi was. Marco Afonso still on the left side and Steven Hernandez still on the right side. For ETSU, Richards is back in the lineup up top for them. And the back line is intact as well with Catherall, Foster, and Chuyap. And now here's Ngando in the left flank, trying to knock it in, unable, splits it and finds Basile Mark. Mark plays it back to Milanese. Milanese out to Ngando. He's going to serve that in. Looking for Sessoms, but good job there by Foster to break up the play. Dominic Foster, the senior from London, England, has started all but one match for ETSU.
He's a third-year starter, so he's semi-familiar with UNCG. He knows what they're capable of, and he's been in moments like this.
And now you can see ETSU really trying to pressure that back line. They're playing in that low block, but as soon as UNCG gets over the half, they are trying to put pressure, although Hagan finding himself with a ton of time and is looking to find Connolly, but splitting the defense, not his forte always. There's Vignali working with the little back heel there by Connolly. And now Connolly racing to get back as it's Hagan looking to pressure the ball. So one thing I love about Ethan Connolly is just he is absolutely determined in everything he does. And you can see when that head drops and he's racing to get back defensively, you know he's going to get there.
He's moving, that's for sure. And you need that, just the way that UNC puts numbers forward. If you're playing in this back line, you're going to have to be able to get back defensively.
Richards versus Connolly there. A little slip up, but not the best ball by Richards, and now Hagan plays to Vignali. And Ngando, rarely do we see him with a tough touch there, but a little bit of frustration there by the sophomore phenom.
I was just about to say, I can't think of many times I've seen that happen to Ngando.
Usually the ball just attaches to his foot as he spins to face up, but ball's intercepted there. ETSU tries to play that across. Easy grab there for Wild as Gunther was hoping somebody would get on the end of it, but didn't really have the angle on that ball in.
I like the start from ETSU. First 4 or so minutes. When they've had the ball, they've done a solid job working it around. And then right there, nice job by Gunther to just be pretty direct with it. Just make that run, get down the right flank, and try to create something. Just not totally sitting back and just parking the bus at this point. They still obviously want to get that second goal, give themselves a bit more breathing room.
Well, UNCG is such a talented squad, so we mentioned that they're not used to being down a goal, but in reality, it's just them keeping their composure and doing what they do best, right? We know that goals usually come for them if they can just keep doing what they do, so I think that mental toughness and not getting frustrated is going to be important.
Oh, it's absolutely crucial. You still have, what, 40 minutes or so left to play in this one. That is ample time for UNCG to find that equalizer, and it could be easy when you're playing against a team who puts numbers behind the ball to get frustrated, but like you said, Sarah, you just have to stick to what you've done all season. The formula works for Chris Rich and company, and just try not to get too frustrated and force things.
And there's Ngando, bodied there by Gunther, and Gunther's going to see what he can do. Splits, but Penholzer falls. We've seen a couple of players slipping tonight. Usually this pitch is in good condition, but a couple of missteps there due to the turf. There's Richards. Milanese wins it. He's got Afonso out wide. Slips that in, but Chuyap breaks it up. Milanese now to Ngando. Such a great turn, but unbelievable pressure there by the Danish defender, Revenlo Morai.
UNCG, they were a little bit upset there. They wanted the advantage. Ngando kept going. Watch this. So watch as he takes the tackle from behind, but then boom, he's right back at it.
And he saw that he had space to run, and that's the thing I like about JC Ngando. We talk about how creative he is. He's got incredible vision. He's pretty on the ball, but he's the type of player where he'll lean in and kind of take that body so that he can keep possession. He is not afraid to be physical, and there's Hunter getting up over his own player to get that ball, showing his range. And that appears to be Foster on the ground. Dominic Foster Took a hit there by the keeper, but you love to see Hunter coming out, showing his range. You always talk how when you come up like that, a little knee into the body is nice, but unfortunately it was his own player
yes, got him right in the chest. That certainly won't feel good. That'll knock the wind out of you for a second, but good to see Foster standing at the touchline and getting ready to re-enter.
Well, Hunter was injured last year, so he was unable to play, but Coach Lilly just has been so complimentary of the player. He said he works hard off and on the field. He's a leader in the locker room. He's just stepped up in so many different ways, including the weight room, to just be the best that he can be coming into this season. Now here's Ngando. He's got 3 players, but he splits them to find Hernandez, and Hernandez streaking into the box. There's numbers. Taken down, but that's a no call there. And now ETSU trying to get out, but Connolly won't let them.
What a tackle that was to break up that run from Hernandez. That's risky for a couple of reasons. One, you risk committing a foul, and 2, if you don't land that tackle, Hernandez is making his way towards the goal. They live to see another day defensively.
Now here's Ngando. Once again, every time he's gotten the ball, there's been a second defender in that cover position, making it difficult. But Milanese, he's got some space, plays it out to Afonso. Afonso looking to take on Foster 1v1. Sorry, that's Gunther. Gunther's going to win that, though. It's interesting when you see Afonso kind of put his head down and he's looking to take that player on in the 18, see what he can create.
Yeah, well marked by Gunther, who has done a good job.
It'll be interesting to see if this match becomes more physical as it progresses, but here we've got the Bucks in the attack. It's 1v2 slotted across, and that's going to be just wide of the inside post, and demanding the tip there, but not going to get it. And that's going to be number 9, Tarek Panholzer.
Watch Panholzer. Oh, just a bit wide. I don't know, by that replay, it looked like it might have been tipped. Couldn't totally tell. Let's see, we'll get a good look. This will be on the opposite end. So here's the tackle. Yeah, got the ball there, and it's Dominic Foster getting in front of it. Now a handball will stop things.
Do you think that was a good no call there by our center?
I think so. What do you think?
Yeah, it was difficult to see from that angle, but I think he did get the ball. Although, once again, it's always interesting to catch up with the coach after the match, and they've reviewed it from their own cameras to see. But UNCG is still down a goal to the Bucks here in this second half, and there's Richards, the goal scorer, but it's broken up by Vignali. Vignali, the transfer from Asheville, last 2 years has been tremendous defensively and really stepped up into the starting role for the Spartans because of his work ethic and what he can do not only in the attack but defensively, and Milanese comfortable just playing that ball out to Wild. But it's going to be won by the Bucks, and that's where that first and second ball become really important, right? You release the pressure, but then you really have to win that kick.
And that's how they scored the goal, off the set piece. They got up in the air, they won the first ball kind of popped around, and it was just one moment for Richards, and he was able to capitalize. And that's why it's so important to have a finisher like that in your team. Because if you're ETSU, you're only going to get a handful of chances. You have to be able to bury them when you do. And Richards was able to do that back in the first half.
One of the things that Coach Lilly wanted his team to do was not rely on Panholzer this much this year. And so, we see that shift. Last year, Panholzer was first team all-conference with 10 goals, led the Bucks, has a little bit of a different role this year, only 3 goals and 2 assists. But what that's allowed is for a player like Richards to step up, and now he's got 9 goals on the season.
And their attack isn't quite as diverse as UNCG, but they have a lot of options. And it just makes it more difficult to defend when you have multiple guys up front who can score. Not just Panholzer, but now you throw Richards in the mix. That's quite the duo top this formation.
It was a good turn there by Sessoms and a bit of a grab there by, I believe that was Foster. Richards trying to see what he can rate, but Ngando putting the pressure on. Ramos is going to get pulled down there, and our official Brandon Gardner is going to get a booking there for Mark.
From the naked eye, that seemed to be the right call, but look back at this. Yeah, that's clearly yellow for Basile Mark, just breaking it up, and ETSU will get some time to relax and reset things.
And would you call that a bit of a gentleman foul there, right? You see them streaking into the attack and you just want to stop that before anything happens?
Absolutely, no doubt about it.
There's Vignali, wins the first ball. Second ball to ETSU. It's still alive. Hagen up over the top, gets it, and that's going to get struck well by Kovacic. I am butchering David's name, and I have not had to say it much, but
Kovacic. Yeah,
Kovacic.
You know, the Slovenian names can sometimes catch you. He's a very talented player, transfer from Maryland. I like the fact that he tried to put that goalward. They're not going to see many opportunities. When they do, they're going to have to do their best to at least put it on frame.
Keep thinking heritage. And now here's ETSU. Ramos misses that. Milanese now. A little bit of back and forth. UNCG likes to have that ball on the ground, knocking it around in possession. Have yet to be really dangerous in the attack, where they've gotten opportunities but only tested Hunter a few times. It's having that possession, but can you be dangerous in that final third?
All right, Hunter's only faced one shot on target. It was a very good shot, and he had a tremendous save, and that's why he's been as good as he's been this year, because he can make plays like that. But you're right, Sari, those dangerous moments just haven't been there for UNCG. It's one thing to pass it around, you could dominate the possession stats, but if you can't generate good chances, every other metric means absolutely nothing.
And you mentioned how versatile the attack is from UNCG, and it's almost, since they haven't been able to find openings in the box, like, what's our next plan, right? Is it trying to take players on 1v1 like we saw Afonso, and can he draw a foul and get a free kick? What's their plan B if getting those services in and finding those openings isn't happening?
Yeah, well, I think first of all, you can stick with what you're doing for a little bit longer, but if you get to the 70th minute, that rough area, that's when maybe you want to try to think of something else. And I do think that they have the skill to go one-on-one. I'd like to see them do that a little bit more, but perhaps something promising building here.
And the entire stadium up in arms, including Coach Rich, but Richards is cheating up there, and Wild's going to have to just grab that. But I think everyone wanted a call against the Bucks on Ngando there, and it did not happen.
I think they had a case for being a little bit upset. Certainly a physical challenge on JC Ngando.
And Ngando's a player who will start centrally, and he cheats to the side, constantly looking to try and find openings, and once again can create that number advantage. And now Ngando able to draw the corner there, but he's constantly looking to try and find that ball.
So let's look back at this. And just shoved off the ball by Chuyap. I don't know, looking at the replay, I'm not as sure, but it was definitely a physical challenge. Nonetheless, a corner kick for UNCG.
Hagen is sometimes the target on this. He's been able to score off of the free kick, and that ball's driven in a little bit short. Both clearances by ETSU, falls to Vignali. Vignali's going to take it on the dribble, finds Ngando out wide. He's got Milanese out there looking to connect, but he's going to take it on. And now Milanese's looking to serve that, but plays it to Connolly, who's open about 40 yards out. And now they're going to switch sides, and that's Afonso out there lumping it in, but couldn't find Sessoms. And UNCG just having to go back and forth, but no openings coming in that Bucks back line. And now here's Ngando. Oh, got the Meg, but couldn't get around Chuyap, and once again demanding the call there, and not going to get it.
No, but just look at the numbers behind the ball. Everybody is behind the ball. They're tight. They're really limiting any sort of good build-up opportunities. And we'll look back at this.
It's a touch by Chuyap. Great little cut. And Ngando just kind of hit the body of Chuyap, and I guess it wasn't forceful enough to get the call there.
I guess so, but he's taking a bit of a beating last few minutes.
And now quick throw in by UNCG. Vignali gets the switch. Out to Hagen. Hagen can't find anything, so he's going to play it back to Vignali. Haven't been able to find Mark, but there's Mark and Ngando both floating in the middle, and a quick turn there, and he's going to draw the foul on You got to fill it in for me. No, I'm just kidding. I was joking on that one. Kovacic.
Well, listen, he draws the foul, and it's one of those situations where, hey, remember what happened from this exact spot back in the first half? Goal for ETSU. UNCG can do that as well, and Ngando is so good on these set pieces at serving up these balls, and they have some targets set to make runs from the edge of the 18.
Ngando lofts that in. It's a fly. It falls down to, and that's Afonso. And he is going to get brought down by Hunter, it looks like. And I believe that was Afonso who drew the penalty there. So we're in the 62nd minute, and UNCG now with an opportunity to equalize.
Well, it's deja vu. It was a fruitful free kick from that spot for ETSU in the first half. Possibly the same for UNCG, as Gunter gave a little bit of contact from behind. And Ngando will step to the spot. 3 goals in the season already, a chance to level things.
UNCG is 2-3 on penalty kicks, and we'll see if Ngando can bury this one. He's only missed 1. It was the first one he took, so success on the last 2, and he's going to put that right into the pocket of Hunter. And that's a save for the senior, who is now flying high as he can, having just stopped one of the best players in the nation. And not a well-struck kick. Kind of an easy save if you're a goalkeeper, right in that low kind of mid-range ball.
It was, and as long as you're going right, you're going to save that. It was not tucked all too close to the woodwork, and great job by Hunter. That's what you're going to want to put in the highlight reel if you're Cole Hunter. And wow, imagine what that does now for the other 10 players in the pitch and the rest of the team. You see your keeper step up in a moment like that, preserve your edge, gives you just a little bit extra boost. Not that they needed any more motivation with about 28 minutes to go in this one.
And as I was saying he was 2 for 3, I was thinking in my mind, don't jinx him. Don't jinx him. You're going to do it. Broadcaster's jinx.
Yeah, the good old broadcaster's jinx.
But there is still a lot of time in this match. 28 minutes to play. ETSU taking that kick to give Richards a break and bringing Leitner back in, number 16 on the ball now, swarmed by 3 UNCG players, but he finds Ramos, and Hagen coming across and is just going to poke that out wide.
That's a tremendous ball, a great idea. And now a throw in pretty deep in this final third for ETSU.
Kovacic on the end of that throw. See, the first time I was going to say Ko, and I was hoping you would fill in with the Cheech, and now I got to do it myself. So I thought we were vibing there, John.
I thought we were vibing there.
But UNCG is going to give they're going to bring back in El Harchi and give Afonso the breather. Steven Hernandez just switching now to the left side of the field. So UNCG with Ngando, El Harchi, Sessoms, and Hernandez as that front four.
You served up the cross perfectly. I just butchered the finish. As we get to the latter stages, this is where maybe UNCG's depth can start to give them a bit of a boost. And yellow card, yeah, they just did not restart the action quick enough. And you get at this point of the match, if you're ETSU, you want to take your time a bit. You want to let some clock run off. But now Cameron Carroll, he's been cautioned. And that's it, no more.
And I think the official has done a pretty good job of managing the game thus far.
Yes. I would completely agree. I thought coming into this one it might be a very, very physical match that maybe at times get a bit chippy. Hasn't been the case so far. Credit to this officiating crew for that.
And you mentioned the depth of UNCG, but once again, they've already gone to their bench a number of times. Not so much for ETSU, with only 3 different players coming off of the bench so far. And so can UNCG just continue to wear them down? Once again, the defensive organization has what really kept ETSU in the game and taking care of those details. But as the game wears on, will they start to wear down?
That's the big question. And this is where endurance proves to be so important. This is why you run all those sprints and everything else that you might do in training or in the off season. It's for matches like this. You have 25 minutes to see out what would be an enormous result, and it's going to come down to endurance if you're ETSU.
This is a flighted ball in. Hagen on the end of it, falls to Ngando. Ngando on the dribble, doesn't have anybody to clear it out to, but cheeky little play there where he tried to play it off Ramos, and a good job by Milanese to just let that go through his legs so they keep the throw. And Ngando's got space this time. They're closing in on him, but he's got room. It's deflected off, but on the backside is Connolly. And it's going to roll out, and Sessoms now looking to see what he can do. Plays it to Vignali. We've called his name a ton. He's really been critical in them getting the ball and trying to switch the point of attack.
He has, and he's done a good job at that on his senior night.
Can they play that quick and find Sessoms, and not able to do so, so they're going to work it back to this side. Here's Hernandez. We said he's dangerous 1v1. He's got Milanese with that overlap. Can't find him. Now Mark's going to loft that in, but easy save there for Hunter.
And the trend continues. Possession for UNCG. They're working around the 18, but they just have not been able to get many touches inside the box. That makes things difficult. You watch the service from Basile Mark, and just well played by Cole Hunter.
And a good job there of Foster using his body to keep El Harchi from really encroaching in on that ball.
And El Harchi, he's a tall guy. He's a big target.
6'2" up top. Been tremendous for them this season. From Santamera, Spain. Leads the team with 3 game-winning goals, but has yet to find himself in a dangerous spot here, and Hagen does a good job there of shielding Leitner away from the ball.
One of many international players on UNCG, and in the match in general, both teams have the international flavor, and even David Lilly, the first-year head coach for ETSU, he's from overseas.
And now here's Hernandez in a foot race with Chuyap. Hernandez gets it, plays it in. El Harchi wide open, but just can't find that corner, and that's really one of the first times we've seen him open in the 18.
That's one of the first times we've seen really anybody get a good solid touch inside the 18 for UNCG, especially this half. That's been the moment, and that's one that he'll absolutely want to have back. He tried to go upper 90. We'll take a look back at this. How about the pass from Hernandez? This is perfectly placed. And, just tried to bend it. That upper 90 was open. and oh so close to an equalizer.
And Foster sliding in late. I'm not sure if you could see it on that screen, but it did look like Chuyap was trying to stretch out that hamstring there. I wondered, we're 69 minutes into this match, a little bit of fatigue starting to happen, but here's Milanese. And Gondo tries to turn, keeps possession, has to go back though. Vignali. Just a constant back and forth, trying to see if they can find a space or create a space when the team's shifting, but have yet to do so often. Really, ETSU has been tremendous shifting back and forth.
They have, and it's been just team defense, everybody committed. And it's been like this all match. They've been playing with numbers behind the ball the entire time. Great tackle by Foster. Second time that we've seen him get down and dirty on a slide tackle inside the box, and both times have been textbook tackles.
Here's Lashikar, a freshman from France. UNCG has done a tremendous job recruiting internationally, a testament to Chris Rich, but also his assistant coach Scott Wells, who was instrumental in bringing a number of these international players over.
And you have a lot of selling points, right? A great program, one of the best in the country. Beautiful facility here, and you're playing in a very great city in Greensboro. Great state in North Carolina.
Here's Milanese, finds Ngondo. Back to Milanese, he had an opening, but he had to cut it back in and clear it out to Lashikar. And I'm not sure if you can hear it at home, but we can hear that Eve, to your left, step, step, that constant communication right now by that Buck back line.
And that ball hit the match referee. It was clearly going to be booted away by ETSU, so they'll get a chance on the drop ball here. But you're right, the communication has been elite, and that's so important. Oh, and Ngondo did not let him just kick it away.
Interesting little play there. And now a foot race here with Connolly and Carroll. And that'll go against Carroll.
And we're getting to those latter stages. We'll see if Chris Rich makes any changes, but so far it's been UNCG just playing their style of being ball dominant and trying to work it around. They've not been able to open up ETSU whatsoever. You almost wonder if, at this point, maybe you don't want to necessarily give up the ball, but have to find some way just to stretch ETSU out a bit.
And here's Milanese. He's got a couple of options there. There's El Harchi, can't find anything. Works it back to Milanese. Once again, just a sea of white blocking anything in, and Ngondo just sort of pokes that over there, over Sessoms. Connolly now has it in the box. But once again, there's two players. He splits them. Unbelievable play. And that's going to go out for a corner. But it's maybe those types of individual efforts that UNCG now needs to see.
Yes, I think so, because you're not getting things in the wide channels. You could serve in crosses. You're going to have to beat defenders one-on-one. In that case, 1v2. He was able to do that. He wins a corner kick, and they'll make a change with Maddox Mallory, the freshman, now entering. And Ethan Conley will get a breather.
This ball served short. Everyone's calling for it to be a corner kick, a goal kick there. But UNCG just having to take advantage of those. You know, they've gotten a number of corner kicks now, but haven't really been dangerous on them.
No, none of them. You look now, 5 corner kicks to ETSU's 1. I don't think there's been one moment where we said, wow, that's a goal-scoring opportunity. Not one. And there's still, at this point of the match, just 3 shots on target, 6 total shots. Has to be a bit frustrating if you're UNCG, but major credit to ETSU. They have executed their game plan through 74 minutes to perfection.
Here's Sessoms, going to play it out to Mark. Mark's trying to get into the attack. He was effective versus Clemson on that left side, and a little flick there by Ngando, and they keep it in just to get poked out again, and now a little bit of a tussle there. Here's Vignali working it himself, out to Sessoms. Sessoms extremely confident on the ball and dangerous, but it's going to go all the way out to Ngando. Ngando working the dribble, gets inside of the box, slots it in, but cleared away there by Sam Catherall.
Anytime a ball comes across the 6 like that, oh, that's so close. If one player's positioned correctly, that's certainly a goal.
And that ball keeps going back to Hagan, but he's unable to continue it the other way and find Maddox Mallory.
These are the situations you love, right? We're just sitting here watching a great match, and UNCG looking for that equalizer. ETSU trying to pull off the upset and see this one out.
UNCG is 9-1-3. The only loss this season is to Dustin Fonder down at Campbell, who's been ranked in the top 25 off and on this year, but usually one of the dominant teams in the Big South. They tied SMU, VCU, and now here's Vignali, unable to capitalize, but you love seeing the 5th-year senior getting into the attack. He's been tremendous all night for the Spartans.
You do, and he was dispossessed just before he can let it rip on frame, as Milanese really paces ahead.
They've got numbers lurking in the box, but Ngando unable to get the serve in, and now we'll see if they can capitalize on another corner kick, but a little
Taking the corner kick for the Spartans.
1-2 there, not quite a well pass, actually touch on it, but good effort there by Vignali. That's going to be a call against the Spartans.
And that'll just allow more time to tick away as we make our way through the 77th minute. And that man, Cole Hunter, is just about 13 minutes away from what would be his 7th clean sheet in 11 starts.
Just an unbelievable effort this season by the senior. And we have to mention that there is no longer overtime, and I chuckle as little Meg there by Ngando. You always love to see that. Hate to be on the receiving end of it, but always love to see it.
You mentioned overtime no longer being a thing, and at first I was a little bit upset about that because I love the golden goal aspect of it. It was fairly unique at this point in time in world soccer, but then I found out that the majority of matches still ended in draws, and it was just a bit of a waste of time. So now I'm not that opposed to it. I think 90 minutes is enough in the regular season to decide a match.
And it definitely depends on the coaches, right? Because there's the coaches that think it's just an additional wear and tear, and then there's the other coaches where maybe you only have one shot of playing a top 10 team, and so you're desperate for the result, or you're playing a team where you've dominated the whole time and you just need those extra minutes because you know it's going to happen. So I've heard mixed results from coaches, a little more mixed than I initially thought, but it does throw a twist into the season for sure.
Yeah, it definitely does. And it also, I think, forces teams in the final few minutes of matches to really extend even more so than they did in years past. Because previously you could play, all right, fine, we know we have some time to find a game-winning goal. But if you absolutely need a win, you start to become desperate final few minutes of regulation.
And that's a great point there as we see the clock ticking down, and there's under 12 minutes left to play here at UNCG. Sammy Lashikar looks to find Hagan. Haven't really been able to find Mallory on this right side, although now that ball's lofted into him, and you can see his speed, tries to keep it alive, but no one able to get on the end of it there. Coach David Lilly was very complimentary of what Coach Rich has done in his 4 seasons. They were the SoCon champions 2 years ago, regular season champions last year, and then lost to Belmont. But he said, that's what we're building for. This is a great test. We're writing our story. We're determined to be better. We want to be better. He's got players like Hunter, Foster, Hancock, who's yet to be into the match, and Panholzer that are just desperate to make good things happen after the last year or so of experiences. And so right now they've definitely risen to the challenge.
And to be at this point in year 1 under David Lilly, and yeah, he's familiar with the program. He was an assistant for a while at UNCG, at ETSU. But it speaks volumes of where this program is, that they are already an impressive mark.
And Hunter comes out, makes the save, but appears to be injured, as well as Yves Chuyap. An unbelievable ball slotted through, but now Chuyap holding his hamstring, and Hunter also looking to try and get stretched. I mentioned earlier how I thought Chuyap was feeling a little bit of the fatigue trying to stretch, and now he's getting some help there from his teammates, but it'll be interesting to see what's wrong with Cole Hunter, who has been tremendous for the Bucks.
This would be a catastrophic loss if he has to come out for whatever reason.
And Gondo just slips that ball in, and was his own player. I think Hernandez did a great job of trying to clear him.
Wild. He's somebody who's, Hunter. He's somebody who has battled injuries at times in his career, and just given the season that he's had right now, what he's meant to this program, he is a redshirt senior now. He's in his 2nd season at ETSU after transferring in from Lander. This is the last thing you want to see, and you have to hope that he's okay.
Well, they are taking their time while they examine him. Both teams getting a breather here, although UNCG has stayed on the field, whereas ETSU players have all run to the side to get the water bottles. But it will be interesting to see how this progresses. They do have junior Andrew Prescott that they can turn to, as well as the other junior, Mark Kuadiu, who is a transfer from Dayton. He's played in 1 match for ETSU this season, but other than that, it has been Cole Hunter, who appears to be able to stay in the match, but he's definitely holding his stomach and had a player slide right into him.
It's certainly going to hurt, and he is a trooper staying in the match. His squad just 10 minutes away from what would be a statement win for this program, for David Lilly, and really across the nation. ETSU, an opportunity to knock off a ranked opponent in conference play.
Here's Vignali. Gets it to Ngando, who's a little bit farther back than normal. They've got Afonso out wide. He's going to serve that in, but it's cleared away. Falls to Vignali. Vignali to Ngando, who's in the center field. He looked like he was going to tee it up, faked me and 3 other players, and now slips it in, but can't find El Harchi or Hernandez.
Seems like after that little break, UNCG has somehow kicked it into another gear. They're moving even faster right now.
Well, they have taken Emmanuel Hagan off of the pitch to add the extra attacking player. So a little bit of adjustment there after the break. Mentioned ball kept going to Hagan, and he kind of wasn't able to keep it going, and so we see him step off of the field. to get that extra attacker in, and that's a good ball in. It's played across. Unable to get it was Steven Hernandez.
A lovely looking ball. That came right back to the middle. Second time in the second half that we've seen a ball roll untouched across the 6. As UNCG looks to reload, trying to find that equalizer with 9 minutes to go.
And that's part of good defending, right? The
It
whole
is.
idea of if you're defending well, I'm on my mark, so if nothing else, the ball will roll across the field and nobody touches it, but that's better than you touching it.
Oh, absolutely. Much better than the alternative.
And now here's ETSU, plays that ball to Panholzer. He's got 1v2, but Vignali coming back. Richards is at the top. Vignali's going to slide, and that's going to get called for a corner kick for ETSU. And we are under 9 minutes in this half. 9 minutes in the game, excuse me, but a nice flighted ball in there by Ngando. It's actually hit off of the Bucks and comes across. That was not a UNCG player that played it back across. And this is the Danish transfer from Gardner-Webb, Sebastian Ravenlo-Moriai, that plays that in. It's going to go off of, let's say it one more time, David Kovacic.
And ETSU will make another change. Good to see Yves Chuyap re-enter, the Canadian who, as you pointed out, he's been holding that hamstring a bit, then he came off, and now he's back on.
Mark wins that ball, and they're going to give him the foul. It's an interesting turn of events here, not just talking about ranking, but going into the conference tournament, you want to make sure you have a high enough RPI, you want to make sure you have enough wins so that if you don't win the conference tournament, you can get that at-large bid. But this also can affect who they're going to play in the conference tournament.
Absolutely. This is a matchup of the top 2 teams right now, and whoever wins this match, make no mistake about it, they have the clear path to securing that 1 seed in the SoCon tournament and also to getting the regular season title, which doesn't mean anything for postseason play, except for having the 1 seed, but still certainly something that either side could be very proud of.
And UNCG has the resume right now. If the committee was going to make the decision to get in, here's Sessoms. Gets the quick opportunity, but just launches that over.
And that actually hit a car. He hit that so hard and high that it cleared the netting beyond the goal and made its way to the parking lot back there.
But this is a fantastic test for UNCG because they have been so dominant throughout this season. To take this knock going into their last few games, going into the conference tournament with that chip on their shoulder, I think this is going to be an important game no matter how it turns out.
It's a wake-up call for the players as well, that, hey, we are beatable. We are human. And not to say that they haven't been training hard or haven't been playing hard, but it's still a situation where sometimes you need to experience it firsthand to realize, okay, yeah, we have to take things to a whole nother level.
And we are 5.5 minutes left in this match. UNCG has taken Emmanuel Hagan out, so they can get more into the attack. They also have Yoshia Akawa on the sideline trying to get in for those final minutes if he can. And here's Vignali. He's got a run by Lashikar. Lashikar slots that in, but both El Harchi and the ETSU player go down, and now they're going to call that against UNCG, and a little bit of the clock just eating away.
Yeah, handball. That's going to allow about 20 or so seconds to run off, and match referee says, hey, quickly get over the ball. Let's restart the action. He doesn't want to have to issue out any more yellow cards, which we saw happen earlier to Cameron Carroll of ETSU.
Hunter with the long driven ball. It's going to get won by Mallory, but out for another throw in. ETSU is in those final minutes where they're going to try and milk the clock as much as they can, or as we like to say, institute a little bit of game management if they can.
You see them try to work into the corner flags, but UNCG quickly races the other direction.
This is Afonso. He finds Ngando on the run. Ngando just a tremendous engine. He's taking him on 1v1, kicked, but they say play on. El Harchi wide open, and he's gonna put that in the back of the box, the back of the net. And the crowd erupts here as UNCG evens the match 1-1. Ngando keeps his feet, plays that ball in, and El Harchi able to get the equalizer. El Harchi's 6th goal of the season.
Oh, absolute scenes here in Greensboro. And it starts with the ball from Ngando. Well, before that, it actually started with him taking on multiple defenders, was able to create enough of a window to send in a very good cross. And we talked earlier about El Harchi's height. He's 6'2". He can tower over some players. He can jump pretty high as well. And he's able to head it home to equalize in the waning moments of this one. And now, 4 minutes left. Either side can still come away with a winner.
Well, we talked about UNCG's ability just to wear teams down. And we saw Chuyap have to come out of the match. Hunter get a little knocked. And now the tides have changed, and that's going to be a foul there on Ngando. He's trying to be nice to Richard, but Richards is upset. Three minutes left in this match. ETSU has had the lead since the first half, and now Sessoms is going to go down, and they're going to see Emmanuel Hagan come back into the match.
So they bring a defender back in, a little bit more of what well, it is exactly what we saw for the majority of this match. They don't want to concede here.
And Hagan has the height and the ability to win the ball, but that's driven, and that's Hernandez, and UNCG on the break. And there's I'd say a silly foul there by Lashikar onto Foster. You know, everybody from UNC was breaking out of there, and now just kills that play.
You're gonna have time for maybe a couple more build-ups, and that's it. Once the clock hits 90, it's over. But in the first half, ETSU scored from roughly this exact same spot. Left side of the pitch, opposite half though. And they'll look to repeat history and come out of here with a win.
Ball served in, it's got space. Wild's gonna punch it away, but it came to the top of the box, and now it's Chuyap. Plays it back in, and that over the top there, but Nicholas Wild is gonna look to play quickly, although Panholzer's gonna draw. Thought he was gonna draw a card there for encroachment and delaying the game, but the referee has stopped the clock. We've got 1:39 seconds left. UNCG's getting players up.
And they have a bit of a numbers advantage in this left side as well, though ETSU now shifting back a bit. But one final build-up for UNCG to try to sneak out of here with 3 points.
Here's Lashikar on the dribble, trying to see what he can find. Milanese now to Ngando. Ngando so tricky on the ball. He's gonna get knocked out of bounds there by Ramos, and they're gonna look to play quickly if they can. Just over a minute left to play, and here's Lashikar on the dribble. We talked about his skill. Tries to flick it forward and can't, and he's gonna get the foul. It was a held call there by the official, Brandon Gardner, but the clock is still running. Under a minute left.
This is what makes the college game so crazy. There's no stoppage time. Once it hits 90, that's it.
They're actually pulling Mark back to be with Vignali. Ngando not the best ball in, but it's back out Vignali. He's on the dribble. Poked away by Panholzer. 19 seconds left here. That's Afonso. Can Vignali get it into the box? Running out of time. Backside. Can't find Mallory, but Steven Hernandez lofts it in. 5 seconds left. Vignali with an unbelievable side volley, but unable to put it onto frame. And UNCG escapes with a tie after a tumultuous second half.
What a match. That was one of the most exhilarating final 5 or so minutes I've experienced in quite some time at a soccer match. This was epic. Major